Poverty is not just the absence of money, but the absence of opportunity. And the United States is a country where you have both freedom and abundant opportunities. And moving to the United States has given me both. I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. I came from a close-knit family. I was the third of four children. And the best thing that my parents gave me was the gift of education. Even though I came from a poor family, they gave me education with the instruction that this is the tool that will help me to dig my way out of poverty and ignorance. But what my parents did was that they instilled in us the value of faith, hard work, and not giving up. They made us realize that if you put in the work, you will definitely get the reward. I came without a dime in my pocket. All I had was big dreams, determination to succeed, and the resilience. I got my first job at the age of 14. My job was on a construction site. My duties were to move concrete on a large pan from one end of the construction site to another one. I worked on that day from around 6 in the morning to about 7 at night. At the end of the day, the employer refused to pay me. And the reason was because she did not authorize the foreman to hire me. So I worked from sunup to sundown and didn't get paid. That tore up my spirit. And from that moment on, I decided that I was going to become a lawyer. And I was going to use every ounce of strength within me to fight against injustice, regardless of how powerful the opponent is. I am a man that worked my way up from nothing. I know what it means to feel like you're being unfairly treated, and I'm the person that can stand up to opponents regardless of how big or how powerful they are. Welcome to this episode of Legal Angle with Emmanuel Olawale. Today I have with me a special guest all the way from Vancouver, Canada. He is an artist and he's going to be sharing with us his journey as an artist and how he finds inspiration in the outdoors. His name is Toks Agosu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for coming. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your journey as an artist?
Right. I was born in England, but grew up in Nigeria, where I had my secondary and primary, sorry, my primary and secondary education. Then after that, just like yourself, uh, I left Nigeria for England, where I then started my college studies, then to university. I I didn't grow up loving art as a person, but I always loved playing the piano. That's the best or as close as I am to the art world as a form of expression. So, and throughout my working life in England, I worked within the web world for quite a while. And then after a while, situation changed. Then I moved out to Canada. So when I got to Canada, I stayed within the web industry. And just one day while I was at work, I realized that, well, I kept on listening to what people were saying, that's clients, and then interpreting all they're saying in terms of drawing and sketches. For me, that was a way of interpreting all the information and how to solve that problem. So I picked up doodling. My workplace, that was as a studio where I worked, a beautiful studio in Vancouver called Red Rocket. And I kept on doing it. So one day I said to my friend, I said, well, where's the nearest art store? So they pointed me to the place and I walked in there and bought my pen and paper and and I started drawing stickmen. That was how it started. And every evening I would do it. I would take time out and just sketch and sketch. I was not proud of what I was doing at that time, I tell you. I was not proud of it. Yeah. So that's how we started. And then change of location somehow, and life events happen, losses, and dealing with grief, and somehow art became the tool that I discovered and I find solace in it. And I use that and practice it again and again and again. And yeah, and gradually begin to expose my work out on LinkedIn to people I know and just to the outside world. Well, it took a bit of courage to do that because, quote unquote, I was not a trained artist, so to speak.
Okay, so it's something that you it's an innate talent. When
I think it's always been there, but somehow I just don't like to be tagged an artist. I don't like what I see when it comes to the art world. Somehow I was not. I didn't grow up with that in my life. So for me to be looking at a piece of art and trying to interpret and reading what's going on, and in England, I saw a bit, but I just did not get it. So I didn't touch it. So I just left it. I knew it's there. But for me to go on that journey to discover my own style and interpretation was was quite an experience for me. So that's how I identify it, but and hide it for a long time, but kept on working on it privately.
okay, how did growing up in Nigeria affect your perspective about art and about being an artist?
Growing up in Nigeria, I remember in secondary school, probably would do the watercolor, do the watercolor and do drawings. I think one of the things I can remember was you have to make it perfect. It has to look really good for it to be acceptable to the teachers in those times, because art means you draw it perfectly, you put the shades on, you put the color in, and then they show it to other students and they say, wow. So everyone aspired to be like what they were seeing. So I couldn't stomach that as a person. So I just shut down on it. I did it because I have to. And I did not make a success of it in school. Yeah.
And how did moving to England and then to Canada, how did those travels, how did they shape your perspective about art?
I must say that when I was in England, I loved the web world a lot. I'm used to building sites, going through client requirements. Those were the things I did professionally, and I enjoyed it. But when I got to Canada, I got to a point where I was tired of just staring at the screen. And I felt, okay, well, what else can I do that would take me away from the screen? That is me. And I thought, well, the foundation of everything is pen and paper. So I decided that, I'm just going to take a pen and paper. And I went out for long walks and just sketch what I saw at that time. I just did it over and over again. And gradually I began to see the beauty uh, in where I now live. And I felt drawn to that. And yeah, and kind of begin to shape my perspective in looking at art and looking at how I tell the story of the place I live visually. So yeah, so Canada has been a big inspiration for me.
What was that process like of being comfortable with the fact that you now have this talent that you want to show the world that is expressive of the inner you?
Well, it was a struggle. It was a struggle for a long time, and I deny the fact that I should be what's called I'm an artist. So that to me was like a safe envelope for me to to try things out and share with people and not feel like, well, it's not up to what and what's it called, they will call an art, but it's just like an illustration, stick diagrams. So for me, but gradually I found someone within where I live, an older gentleman that just became a friend, and then we started talking about interests and things I do. So one day I took a whole book of my sketches out just to show him. And the man was like, he's a Canadian man. And he was like, the man was like, you're an artist? I said, no. I said, I just wrote this. and said, "You're an artist." I said, "Well, I'm not sure." It was like, "You're an artist." An artist. So, and on another occasion where I go walking, there was a man that saw me. I always see him walking, and he saw me. So I started a conversation with him one day, just saying, "Hello, how are you? You know, where are you from?" And he said, "Well, the first time I saw you, I said, this guy's an artist. What's he doing here? He looks like an artist." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "That's not the conversation I wanted to have. I just wanted to have, what's it called? Normal conversation, not about what I do." And so I listened to the man and I began to join those pieces together. And I kept that at heart. And I will always go out every day to sketch, just to see, just to try out, is it really true? Can I really do this? And when I got to a point where I felt a bit more confident, then I decided to what's it called, to reach out on LinkedIn to a man. His name is Mr. Yisab Akimbolaji. He's a Nigerian artist out here in Canada, and I would say that he is one of the folks that really helped me to step out, because he came into the scene. I reached out to him. I wasn't expecting that, well, the person will have time for me. So I reached out to him and then shared my work with him. And he was just talking to me as an artist. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this gentleman doesn't know my story very well. And he asked me all these questions around art. And I'm thinking, which school did you go to? I'm thinking, well, I got my degree, but not in art. So I was saying, "So how did you start this whole thing?" And I'm like, "Well, I just go out sketching." And it really opened up my eyes to see that I have the talent and I have the skills there. And that propelled me to go out, all out for it. I, I bought books, pens, just simple pen and paper, and I'll go out every day. When I'm driving, I see things, I sketch it. So all my artwork are basically inspired by the outdoor, looking for those special moments. It's like taking pictures, looking for those special moments in my day, and I put them together and write the stories around them. So that's, yeah.
Okay. What was the importance of you finding a mentor to guide you in that world?
That was very, 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 very important. It felt good to have someone that's really then top of their trade, to, what's it called, to engage with me and to think in their own thoughts, thinking, well, this guy, what you're doing took years for people to do, and this is what you have now. So that to me spurred me on to ask more questions. Learn from him, and through him I joined the Canadian Black Artist community. So there I'm able to, ask questions, because I don't have a clue about the art world. I don't understand all the languages, all the quirkiness of it, how people arrive there. But I have my own process. So, and I share those processes with him, and he encouraged me to stick with those processes and keep doing what I'm doing, that I am doing a good job. So that was a big, big, big boost for me.
So, what is your creative process?
That's like a secret, man. The creative process is very simple. I always say, simple is good. Uh, it's basically pen and paper. And I make sure I buy a journal. It's like a journal from Amazon or from somewhere, just to add value to what I'm doing, to make me feel good about what I'm doing. And I go out. We have lots of parks around where we live. And I will go out there and just open my eyes and look at what I can see. What is the beauty in this moment that I'm in now, away from all the distraction? What can I see that make me feel peaceful, or make me feel good, or make me feel, what, I really love life. I can share this with somebody else. So, and I'll stop and just sketch it. And once I sketch it in the book, I felt I've done a job. My goal is, you know, every day I must have one sketch. But I ended up doing more sketches in a day that I lost track of everything. So, so yeah, so that's my process. Then when I get home, I let it lie for probably days or even weeks. Then I go back to it and look at the sketch again and pop it onto computer and clean out the extra lines and then decide that, well, I need to add color to it. So also I write the story, I write what inspired me about the art at that moment, and how can I tell that story to encourage somebody else, to be a good distraction in their world. Because I think we all need escapism every now and again. So yeah, that's my process really. Then I save it. Once I've saved it, and then I put it in context by put it in a what's called in a room, so the viewer can engage with it and make their own story around it. So that's basically the process. I make it so simple for myself. Yeah,
So the vision or the mission of each work you create is to
yeah.
inspire others.
That's the message, is to inspire others and as well as to breathe a bit of life into their world. Something that you see that will make you stop. Either you smile or it brings back a good memory for you, or something that you can enter in. The way all the sketches are made, they're not fine lines. You can enter in and engage with that story and see yourself in that piece if you want to. And then, get out of it if you want to as well.
Thank you. So what led you to choose ink and paper as your medium instead of some other means?
I think that's the foundation of everything because I started out in life writing, black and white, pen and paper. And I always say, when you have black and white pen and paper, it might look meaningless, but by the time you pour some colors on it, you find out that, wow, there's beauty in it. I like that because it gives me a sense of creativity. I'm not boxed in looking at all the colors, using that to determine or be the motivation for what I'm doing. Just plain black and white, and then and from there, anything happens after that. The colors can always go on it, so it's like a template for me.
And with the kind of work you do, you don't require models or, models that in person or something to look at. You
No,
you immerse yourself in nature.
yeah, I go out there because I felt this is a beautiful place. I look at where I live as it's like, well, you have the business of life, and then you have the nature surrounding you, and the nature is one of the peaceful places to be. Obviously, with reason because they're wild animals and all that stuff, but just being in those environments make you, for me, it makes me feel grounded as a person. And it brings memories of growing up in Nigeria for me, where I grew up in a safe environment where I'm not bombarded with so much. And there's simplicity, and you can see things for what they are. And then from there, you can then get that inspiration to be able to, I was going to bring that out and give it to somebody else to make them feel good. That's the whole idea.
Thank you. And after you finally accepted that, okay, I have this talent,
Yeah,
you started drawing and you started sketching and you started showing your work to others on LinkedIn.
yeah.
How did going on LinkedIn help you connect with your target audience?
Going on LinkedIn was a bit of like testing the waters at the beginning. I had some faithful friends, I call them, that they've known me for years, but they've never known me to be an artist or even have any inclination like that. So I will, I will go through the sketches and make it as at the early stages. I just take a picture of the original sketch, color with a colored pencil, and pop it online and write a story around it. and and I realized that people connected with those stories. And the stories, I did not make them very complicated. They're stories of, okay, well, how I started my art journey. Yeah, it's a journey. I've not said to you, I'm an artist. Here is how I've got everything right. No, it's a journey and it still continue to today. So I share a bit of each of those sketches, find a way to tell the story in there to encourage the person that might engage with it at that moment. And I use analytics tools online just to be able to see how people engage with those posts. And lots of time I'm impressed. I'm thinking, whoa, really? So lots of people are engaging with this thing, and this is what they think, this is what they see in it. And that to me was just enough. I didn't post it for debates, argument. I only posted it for the fact that, I need to add value to somebody else's life or day, whatever they might be going through, anytime that they pop onto my own page. So positive feedback from there encourage me. And there's times people didn't get it, which is not a problem. I don't have any problem with that. If you ask me what it means, I will tell you what the art means, and you can choose to interpret the way you want, which is all right. But the joy I find is that you engage with it. It makes you to stop, to think, either to feel good or to what's called to feel encouraged at that time. So yeah, so that's how I kicked off on LinkedIn, and it's been a good experience. Yeah.
Thank you. You keep mentioning the word joy. What role does joy and fun have in your creative process?
It drives it because when you look at some of the sketches, if you look at it, this is what it means. It's like being on a white canvas, and then you're looking at a moment in time, and you can see just the simplicity and the joy of being in that environment where these precious moments are happening. It's like it's the best feeling I think I you can have, being out there, being able to see things probably other people don't see, and you can bring that back and share it with people and know that you have a positive impact on them. That's great. I can do that all day. I can do that all day. But that is how I found the passion and enjoyment in it. And I'm glad I have that because I have other responsibilities, but that is a good outlet for me, a positive one. So yeah, so there's every of my sketches when look at it and engage with it, there is a joy that comes with all my sketches. There's a joyful story around there, and that keeps me going. Yeah.
So you are like the mirror reflecting the unseen beauty back to people and leaving it
Well,
for them to interpret.
well, you can say that. You can say that if that's a yeah, that's another way of looking at it. Yeah.
Have you had situations where you make your art and to you it meant something and then someone else looked at it and had a deeper meaning to it and which also could have been something that you have missed or that you didn't see?
I think there's been situations like that. There was a time I sketched. Uh, I think it's actually on my LinkedIn. I went out that day and I sketched a tree. I can remember I went out walking and sketched a tree the way I think I just saw it at that moment and I sketched it. And then I brought it back probably some months later and I'm thinking, oh, I have this. I've not actually shared it. So let me pop some color on it. As I was adding the colors to it, I could see a human heart in that tree, a human heart. I did not set out to sketch that. That's not my motive. I don't because I stay away from things that are controversial. I just want to bring something that's unique that will, add value. So I did that, and it took me a while. And I posted on LinkedIn, and I added a question: What do you see in this particular piece? And then somebody else said to me, well, they saw like some animals walking. I'm thinking that's not the idea. That's not what I meant. But I took it with a light, what's it called? Lightheartedly, because I felt okay, that's what that person see. So I'm grateful for the fact that they actually shared it. So that's good. And I waited and I shared with some other people. And later I went out to pick up my boy from school. And while I was there, I showed the same sketch to the teacher there. And she was like, oh, I can see a human heart on the tree. I said, aha, this person was careful enough to look at it and they could see exactly what I saw. And that was good. Somebody else look at it thinking, I can't see it. I can't see it. I said, that's fine. You can't see it, no problem. So you just need to look a bit deeper than you might see it.
Hmm.
So Yeah, I don't have any problem. People misinterpret. That's fine. That's the whole idea. And if you ask me, I'll tell you. And you might not agree with it. That's still okay. You're still engaged. So I don't lose my sleep over if somebody else misinterpreting. As long as you misinterpret in a good way. Nothing political, nothing sexual. It's just very simple, joyful, fun moment. That's it. That's the idea.
Thank you. And as
Yeah.
an artist, what every artist get used to is people who criticize your work
Yeah.
because it is easy to criticize than to
Oh yeah.
create.
Oh yeah.
So, how do you handle negative criticism?
Well, I would say so far I have not had what's it called harsh criticism, and someone has warned me ahead of time that well, not everyone will like what you do. There'll be people that will reject it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I wrote down, stick it somewhere in my journals, and I said, listen, my art is like preparing a buffet every day. So I put it out there. You don't like it, not a problem. You like it, engage with it, enjoy it. If you can say good things or you can say bad things, as long as for me, I love what I do, but not to the extent that I'm going to lose my sleep because somebody said uh, something bad about it. There was one time someone saw on my sketch, oh, these lines are too much. It's just too much lines. I'm thinking, that's okay. You know what happened? There were more engagement with those with those with the artwork. So in the day and age we live in, one thing I would say is that there are people that actually help the mission. So if you criticize something, you get more people getting involved in it. And then you as the one that put it out there, motive is clear why you put it out there. So people can argue and debate. There are times I did not step into that conversation. I just stayed back and watched where it would go. And that was how I handle it. So I felt, well, I don't really know you. So the whole idea is this information is there, enjoy it, or you might not. And the person that did that was an artist. So, and I thought, well, no big deal. Probably you know more than I do. So, life goes on, and I've sketched more since that time. So it didn't stop me. No,
Thank you. I happen to have one of your masterpieces.
correct.
Yes. Can you tell us the story behind this?
Right,
And what's the title?
right. This piece of artwork was actually sketched at a place called Confederation Park in the out here in Burnaby. I went out that day and I saw these three chaps playing basketball, in the court. And that day is one of my early sketches, and I just sketched it. And I think, you know what, let me just sketch this thing, and then from there, that's it. But after taking it home and then looking through it, I said, well, the meaning of that piece is very simple. You can see the characters that are there. They're unique characters. They've got different legs, and they got cloud heads. So the whole idea is that you have cloud heads, you have a degree of hope. The colors in there is yellow. The yellow is just to show excitement and the feeling that they're having at that moment, that they're just, you know, playing basketball and no care in the world. And it was just a moment that I saw and I thought, I need to capture this. And yeah, and that was it. And looking through it, I thought, well, how can I use this to encourage somebody else? Then I wrote a story around actually the excitement of two people being around their mentor in a private space, and they can get the buzz, the attention that they need, and the whole emotion, thinking, oh, this star is actually, playing with me, showing me tricks. And that's the exclusivity of that time, of that piece that you have. So yeah, and I hope you liked it.
Yeah, I love it, and I really appreciate it. And now, even knowing the meaning, it's even make it even much more valuable
Yeah.
than it was before. And the clouds that represent hope,
Yep.
and the colors. You have two people with yellow heads and one with purple.
Yep.
And what is the meaning of those colors?
The yellow is basically, well, as let's imagine you're with, I know you like Sylvester Stallone. Oh no, sorry, you like Arnold Schwarzenegger, if I'm right. Yeah. Let's imagine for a moment you're right there with him at this time and you're having that moment and asking him all the questions that you want to ask him and he telling you how to do all these things, the bodybuilding and things like that. And you can imagine how you will feel. So the simplest way of putting that into this, so putting that sort of experience in this was just the use of the yellow because yellows to me means excitement. So that's the point. And the purple basically symbolize the person that knows a bit better, a privileged position, really. Uh, that person is. And they're sharing what they know with these two selected people. So, and those two people can be anybody. It can be a basketball coach, it can be a teacher, it can be an artist, it can be a musician, it can be any, it can even be a parent or a dad or a mom. So that's the
Thank you. And apart from having your work on the canvases,
yeah.
you also have them on mugs.
Yes, I do. I do have them on mugs. The same piece you're holding, I've got it right here on mug. And yeah, it's available on my website. I try to make sure that most of my artwork are accessible in the best way I can. And I pop them on mugs. There are loads on my website, whereby if you don't want to buy a canvas, you can always buy a mug. And the mug is a good conversation starter as well because it's unique. You can your friends will see it, the family, and they can ask you questions, and you can tell them the reason as to why you've chosen this piece of artwork. So it's not really about the mug, it's about the art on the mug because the art makes the mug special. So that's the idea.
So, what inspired you to start putting your artwork on mugs?
Sorry, you
What
lost me there.
inspired you to start putting your artwork on mugs?
Well, I decided that because I'm thinking the whole idea is you want people engage with art. The art is not just, well, I can put it in my private space and that's it. There are some like that. But if you hold a mug that's got a story around it, you have a reason for buying that mug and you have a reason for identifying with that story. And you can always share that. People that doesn't like to talk too much, this is a good way to start a conversation with someone, uh, and tell them the story. And I think my art should be accessible to people, uh, as many as connect with the story. And I think my part in doing that is to put it on mediums that people can easily buy. So that's the bottom line. So I have canvases, and at the same time, I have mugs and some on tea towels that people can put in their homes and, be happy with it and smile because they will do something to you. Yeah, to your world as well.
With the pieces.
Yeah.
And how do you ensure that your artwork is accessible to your audience?
Well, I've got the website. I've got Mug Masterpieces. That's the website I've got where I sell some of my artwork on mugs, and I launched that probably just a couple of months ago. Before I had a site called Not Win Illustrations of Art is still there. That focuses on canvases, but Mug Masterpieces is the way forward for what I do. So it's accessible. If you hit the website, it's there. At the moment, as part of launching of the site, there's free shipping to folks in US and I think to England as well. And then you have $8 off selected items. So, but all the products are free shipping. Yeah.
Okay. Can you share some of the responses you've received from people who have bought your work?
One person that bought my work actually is in Germany, and I said, okay, just give me a review, something that I just need to know as a feedback. The feedback was that, well, I like the fact that the artwork is simple and it allows me to write my story around it, and at the same time reminded me of when I was growing up, and it was a good moment. So that was one. Other feedback that I've got, someone did ask me, say, well, I like your mugs, but you need to, why not put it on probably 15 ounces mugs rather than 11 ounces mugs. So I've got some feedback in that line. And the other ones I've got are from people that actually received my artwork as a gift, and they were touched by it. They felt that there's something unique about the artwork that I've done. It's just the flow that is in the story and the expression of it. So far it's been encouraging, and I hope it keeps going that way.
Thank you. So, how
Yeah.
do you balance the creative nature of your work and then the business nature of it, which is like promoting and selling it online and reaching more
Right.
audience on LinkedIn?
So my background's in web development and online marketing. So I have those skill set in my pocket, but at the same time, I have the business mind in my head. That's what I listen. I love what I do. It's great fun. I can do this all day as my own little pleasure, and but if I need to keep on doing this thing, there has to be some financial reward. So, in as much as I go out and I create these things, I still know that, well, I need to be able to put them in the hands of people. So there is a separation between the two. You have the business mind and then you have the creative side. So they're two different sides, and they only meet when you have to put it out there. And and that's where I am now, as putting the work out there and getting people to see it and then engage with it. So yeah, so I hope I cover that question for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what are the challenges you faced as an artist, and how did you overcome them?
Right. Some of the challenges I face is very noisy out there when you step into the art world. And one of the things that most people have encountered is, well, defining your niche, finding your style, writing your story. So those are some of the challenges I think personally I've been able to overcome by sitting back and defining why I do what I do and what's the motivation and how I write there. I write those stories down. I always go back to it as a foundation for myself. The other challenge is in order to keep track, keep track of all the stuff I do. It took me a while, and then ended up buying a tool. It's like a catalog system where I can put the date, the story, where those pieces of art are, who bought them, what it is. So before I just keep everything on a big, lots of folders. So I crossed over that when I found the tool. It's called Artwork Archive. So I found the tool, and then from there I begin to pop all my stuff there. And the other challenge that is there is actually being able to access the right audience. It's one thing to know them, it's another thing to do the ads and do all those things, but getting them to really engage with the art, the work itself can be pretty tough because it's noisy. It's noisy out there. So, but there are different ways I am looking into to be able to cross that barrier slowly. Not there yet. Yeah.
Do you have any plans to have your work displayed at a gallery or in an art show?
I don't have any plan for that now because the rules of galleries are very strange to me. They ask for lots of informations, and I felt, well, do I really want to go down that road at this time? I don't think so. Uh, I'm very I'm very careful around getting down to a place where I'm just yeah, it's great for people to see the work, but at the same time you want people to be able to buy the work, and that's the honest truth of it. So whether the gallery option is something for me to do, I'm not sure. But within the community where we live here, I am planning what's it called, an evening of art where some of my work will be able to be displayed, and other side of me I play jazz, so it's a good combination to be able to put the art in there and then enjoy the music, and then just have a good evening, yeah, with people that do what's called decide to show up, but that's in the near future. Yeah.
Have you noticed any specific themes of subjects that keeps recurring in your work?
The themes for me is hope. I believe so much in hope, and I think that is like the foundation of all that I do. Because when I look around, I listen to what's happening. I look at, well, I've got a family. I look at what's the alternative narrative to help bring a bit of stability to, like, okay, my own child. Uh, some stability that I enjoyed as a person growing up, the security and the stories that actually, inspires me to know that, I can go ahead and I can still do the things I need to do, regardless of the state of the world we live in. So hope is foundational to that. Fun is the next thing. And then, the third one is the peace. Great sense of peace in the artwork that you can enjoy the moment of what's it called? Of the moment and the story in that art without worrying what the impact of it would be on you as a person. So those are the three main themes, really.
Thank you. And do you have any artist that you look up to?
I must say to you, I'll tell you a story. Now, when I first started out, because I didn't know which way to go, I decided I'm going to buy a book on how to sketch because that's the way to go. You buy a book, you read the book, and I bought the book. I could not connect with the book, with the how to. Now, that for me, because I see things differently. But for me as a person, the person that, and I'm saying this honestly, the person that I think that's helped me in my journey is Mr. Yisa Akimbolaji. And the reason for that is because I can identify with the man. I identify with the man's story. He's from the same background where I come from. So I identify with him and I like his work. But more than his work, I like the connection I have with him more than what's called just a piece of work that he does. And that encourages me and that motivates me. So he is a person that I would say I quietly look up to. Uh, that's just my choice. There are other great artists out there, and I agree, but I I prefer to say this is someone that inspires me. Yeah.
And you indicated earlier that you try to sketch at least one sketch a day.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. So how do you select which one will make it to the canvas and which
Oh,
one will make it to the mouth?
yeah, it's like harvesting, it's like harvesting, like a farmer. You just get the combined harvest, just get out there and just, do the whole lot. So once I've done that and then scan them onto the computer and I let it marinate. I just let it stay there for days, even for weeks. Then I then go back into it and look and think, oh, well, I think this has something in it that will make it through. So I'll use it. But personally, I would say most of what I sketch should be out. And the reason why I said that is because I felt I had to mentally cross the barrier that, listen, the art is not meant to be perfect. My style of art is not about perfection, it's about sharing a moment in time. And life is not the picture perfect thing that we see on TV, and it's expressed in my artwork. So most of my work should be out, but some I put them out as a filler. There's been ones I thought they're really crap, but I put them out on LinkedIn and people really love them, thinking, all right, okay, so this works. That's great. So nothing is a waste. So yeah, so that's the thing. But I still look out for the ones I think, this will catch someone's attention. So I should put it out there. So but I just go out, sketch as many as I can sketch for the day and pack it and then go back and review it. Then I decide which one shows up for the party really. Yeah.
You mentioned that life is not the perfect picture that you see on TV,
Oh yeah.
and the end product of your work has color. So, what is the importance of colors and movement in your work?
The importance of colors in my work really is this. if you walked into a room, just a dark room, let's say you walked into a dark room and it's just like, oh, what is this? All you see at times is darkness. Moreover, they told you lots of stories about that room. So, but the colors in there is at times what you carry. It's not about the room, but is what you carry inside that transforms that space into what it should be. So the colors on my sketches are basically, when I looked at those moments, I see hope. And the only way to put that through is to use colors that will breed hope to the person that actually engage with it. So that's the whole idea, really.
Thank you. Everyone will experience off days,
Oh yeah,
days they're not inspired or motivated. How do you overcome those days that you don't feel like sketching?
it's very simple, man. The way I do it, everywhere I go, whenever I drive, even when I'm walking around, I always have a pen and paper. It to me is like, think about this. I look at it this way: whether I like it or not, I need to have water. Okay. If I don't have water, it's not based on my feelings. If I don't have the water, there's a consequence that goes on with that. So for me, I felt not like there's a consequences for me for not sketching, but I just felt there's something missing in that day if I haven't done it. Unless to say, you know what, I'm packing and taking time off and I'm not doing it. So even during my off days, I'll be honest, I have sketched things during my off days. I thought this is really crap. But at the end of the day, when I look at it, I'm thinking, oh, well, this does make sense. So, you know what? Let me just leave it out rather than, make it a quiet passion that I leave out as fun that I enjoy, just like the same way other people enjoy their coffee or any other beverage. So this is what I do. Throw me out there, give me a pen and paper, I'm good. I'll be as happy as Larry, man.
And have you had to collaborate with other artists?
I'll
And
be honest, I haven't yet. I haven't. I had someone say, oh, probably in the near future or something. I'm like, well, okay, fair enough, no problem. But I haven't yet. No. It's be good to be able to go through that process, but I haven't. Yeah.
and if you were to collaborate, do you have anyone in mind that you would love to collaborate with?
There is someone that I've seen at work, and the reason because I think art has to have some form of purpose as to why she's doing it. I think her name is Tammy, and she's in US. She's a stress reducing artist. That have seen our work, and I thought, you know what, this actually aligns a little bit with my own thinking. And she creates spaces that will help people to calm down, to relax, and to be able to distress. So I thought, yeah, that aligns with some of my values as to what I do, because I can see a crossover there. So she's someone that, yeah, I would love to collaborate with when that time comes. Yeah, so yeah.
So, what advice will you have for upcoming artists, especially those who are yet to find themselves?
Disconnect. When I said disconnect, what I mean by that is that I am only as productive as much as I look less at other people's artwork. Not that I can do what they do, but for me to find myself, I'll find your own uniqueness. You need to disconnect from it. Because for me, if I've been told the stories of great artists, of all the stuff that they've done, for me, it might not have really helped me, because I'll think probably I can't measure, I can't feed into that. But by the time you disconnect and take the knowledge and take the skills and begin to find your own style, write your own story, as you practice it every day or every week, you begin to see a theme, you begin to see a style begin to come out. And then from there, you zero in on it and just master it. And that's the way to go. I'm not saying don't look at other people's artwork, but for me, it has helped me a lot by looking less at it, because I just go out outside. There's just enough to look at, that that's out there to inspire me and help me uh, create my own style and put it out there. So the knowledge is good, but putting it down is the next thing. And then don't compare yourself with somebody else because you will never be them. That is just the thing. Yeah.
Disconnect,
Yeah.
master your own style, and
Yeah.
don't compare yourself with somebody else.
The funny thing is that we're in my studio. I don't probably do I have an artwork? I only have a poster on my wall that keeps me that this is what I'm doing. I don't have many of my artwork in my own studio. I have in other parts of the house, like this one. This one is that have in other part of the house. This for a child's room. But apart from that, I don't have one in front of me because I think it's good for me to have that visual space whereby I can think, I can look at things as they are, and then create. I hate clutter. It doesn't help me. So yeah.
So, how do you see your work evolving in the future?
Someone have asked me, say, well, so what sort of artist do you see yourself? Are you using your artwork to either solve social injustice, or you have all these boxes that people want somehow, probably society, or people think that you should fall into? Personally, to me, I remain outside the boxes, and I see my artwork to continue to be an artwork that gives peace and that gives a sense of hope, and at the same time that gives share a bit of wisdom. I think those are the things that I'm focusing on. I think there are more than enough artists to cover the other spaces. So I stay within those three key areas for now, and I see how it goes. Yeah.
Peace, hope, and medium.
Yeah, and
Peace,
wisdom.
hope, and wisdom.
Yeah.
Those are the three ways that you believe that your work is going to evolve in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have any upcoming exhibition that you would like the audience to know to see if they can show up to support your work?
None. None at the moment. None. None. Yeah, but I am working on my website quite a lot now. More products will be showing up there, so that's what my focus is for now. Yeah,
And how can people connect with you?
I am on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my choice, platform of choice. I'm on Instagram as well. I'm on LinkedIn as Toks Agosu. You'll be able to see the link probably at the bottom of the video, and on Instagram. Those are the two platforms. Then my website. Those are platform of choice that I use. Yeah, you
Thank
can
you.
connect with me.
Thank you. And what parting word of wisdom would you like to share with the audience? That as maybe part of your work that instills hope, that instills wisdom.
I think, but what I would like to share in terms of hope is that I probably most people have heard it, never give up and all that. I understand that. My wisdom is this: if you have the idea, it mustn't just sit up here. It needs to go on the pen and paper, and then you need to break it down. And then on breaking it down, you should then find a way to enjoy the process of trying it out and finding ways to get some feedback. At times it can be difficult, probably from people or loved ones. And then from there, once you think or you have that sense that this thing will work, then stick with it. Make it a way of life rather than seeing it as a burden or as something that I have to do. But find joy in those things, because that might be the way for your own fulfillment in life. And in terms of wisdom, I would say, well, when you look at my artwork, there's so many meanings in it. If I don't tell you what it is, then you might never know. But if you look at it and you can find a story, or it brings a story of a good moment for you in your own life or in your own world, then enjoy it. And in every art, there's a wisdom in it. So it's just paying attention to it and then learning from it. And yeah, and make something out of it. And finally, I would say, in terms of peace, I enjoy looking at artwork in a quiet space whereby I can focus on it and take it all in, and then write my own story of that moment in time. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
And as you continue to write your story,
Yep.
so where are you now on the spectrum of being an artist? Do you finally accept the fact that you are an artist?
I accept the fact the fact I'm an artist, and I'm comfortable with that. And now I'm comfortable with it because I felt it's something that is there that I can focus on. If I have nothing else to do, this is something that I can keep doing for a very long time, apart from other responsibilities I have. So I am comfortable being an artist because that's just who I am, you know, and I'm happy that I found it. that's the that's the whole idea, yeah. And I want other people too to find whatever whatever they might be aspiring to. So
Thank you. I'm happy for
yeah,
you to, for
thank
finding
you.
that piece of you that gives you the medium to share hope,
Yeah,
joy, inspiration, and
yep,
peace with people.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
thank you for your time for coming onto Legal Angle and sharing your work with us and the
Thank you
inspiration
too.
behind them. I
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
too.
your time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah, all the best too, and have a lovely week ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching this show or listening to this on your tablet or radio in the car as a podcast, thank you for your time. Don't
Thank
forget
you.
to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and also to follow us on Instagram. Until next time, tune in for another exciting episode. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye for now.